thank the grace of heaven and the virtues of the masters for having this opportunity to talk about this topic, the Six Paramitas. It's this is one of the core, um, you can say, principles or practices in Buddhism. Um, and so I'm going to talk about what are these six paramitas? Okay. First of all, the paramita is what it means is to cross to the other shore. Okay, that's I guess it's a Sanskrit term, um, and or it's also translated as perfection or essentially the transcendence. So we want to if they use this analogy that we live. We're on this one shore, right? So we're separated. There's a shore. We're on one shore, separated by body of water, and then the other shore, and that the shore that we're on in this world is the shore of I don't know. You can say it's suffering. This illusory life, illusory reality. Okay. And then the other shore is the shore of enlightenment. Okay, so to get to that other shore, so the Buddha, from his enlightenment, he realized that this life is, it's full of suffering, and that we have to get to the to get to the shore, becoming enlightened. There's some practices, there's some ways to get there, and one of them is the six paramitas. You probably heard of like the Eightfold Noble Path. These there's some overlap between these. Okay, but so today there's six paramitas. All right. Now, first of all, to practice, or why do we want to practice? Okay, so there are a couple of ways. First, we have to have this bodhicitta, which is bodhicitta is. Again, it's a Sanskrit term meaning the bodhi mind. The bodhi mind is the mind of enlightenment. Okay, the mind of enlightenment is something that we strive to attain. Okay, or you can say it's a mind, a way of looking at things. Okay, that as long as so when we talk about like bodhisattvas, Buddhas, they all have this bodhicitta mind, okay, this bodhi mind, because what they realize is that life or everything, all living beings are, you can say that they're all one. It's one body, one is oneness. Okay, so there's no separation. So that so some people, from the human point of view, we think about we talk about personal salvation or they're helping ourselves. The idea of self, the self is the false. From the Buddha's point of view, or from the enlightened point of view, it's the false self. It's not the true self. Okay, because this self is the small self. Okay, it's the individual, and that is very limited. Okay, so it's just limited to me or to you, to each person. It's like a drop of water. But ultimately, if that drop of water returns to the ocean, right, it's part of the ocean, and that's the greater self. It's inclusive of everyone. Okay, and that's the goal, if you will, of a bodhisattva or Buddha, is to become one with everyone. Okay, with everything, and so in practicing the paramitas is to basically to get rid of that idea of individual self, okay, or the selfishness, if you will. All right. So first we have to have that mindset, right? This bodhi mind, this mind of enlightenment, to say that that's what we want to do, and then second is the engaging bodhisattva, bodhicitta, which is to actually to do the practice of it. All right. Okay, so let's see. All right, So and also, why do we practice these things? Obviously there are many things to be grateful for in life. First of all, we have there are these four graces. Okay, the graces of our parents, right? Obviously, our parents brought us into this world and raised us, cared for us, etc. So that's something that we have to repay that grace in one way or another. We can do it directly, obviously. Filial piety. There are other ways, in terms of our own cultivation. When we can cultivate, that also is a benefit to them too, and repaying their grace. The grace of all sentient beings. Now, having all sentient beings allows, especially for bodhisattva. Okay, so for an ordinary person, it's like, well, what do I need to be thankful for all the sentient beings? Well, for a bodhisattva, it allows them to, there's this opportunity to help guide them to enlightenment. Okay, so if there aren't any sentient beings, then there's no one to bring to enlightenment. All right, so that's why you're grateful that there are many opportunities for brilliance. Okay, to perform, to become practice this bodhisattva way. And then the grace of our teachers and our country, of course, go to school, our teachers, we learn from our teachers. Anyone can be our teachers actually, but so we also have to give thanks for, be grateful for them and teaching us. And the country that we live in, even though we may not agree with the politics or the policies, but yet we're here. That is due to usually by our own choice that we're here. So we obviously uphold the laws and be thankful that the country obviously provides certain services, protection, things like that. So should always be thankful for that too. And then the grace of the Buddhas and saints, of course, giving us enlightenment, giving us the guidance to also become enlightened as well. All right. Okay. So the Six Paramitas is a part of realizing the Bodhisattva's vows. Okay. The Bodhisattva's vows is not just to save themselves, but to save all sentient beings. And basically, we want to, as a bodhisattva, actually a little bit of history. In the early days of Buddhism, although they were practicing these, the paramitas and all the precepts, it was mostly for the individual. I mean, the practice was mainly for themselves, and from the way we call that is, well, the term Hinayana, Hinayana Buddhism came about later on to describe that as that it's defined as the lower vehicle, for cultivation, which is basically cultivating this for oneself only. It's not really going out and trying to cultivate or to enlighten others. And then, so that's where also the Mahayana Buddhism came out, which is, it's defined as the greater vehicle, which is basically the way of the Bodhisattva is to not just to save oneself or enlighten oneself, but to help others become enlightened as well. And really, the practices were the same, but it's just, you can say it's kind of like a mindset difference in the way they view things. All right. So the Bodhisattva is really more concerned about all sentient beings rather than just themselves. All right. And so basically, this practice for Bodhisattva is to basically get rid of the two forms of self-attachment and severing the death. Okay, so forms of attachment are attachment to our body and aversion to suffering, right? So ultimately, we have all sorts of attachments and to everything. Okay, anything in this world. I mean, unfortunately, we're born into this world, and so and we develop a lot of attachments to things. Things that we like, or aversions to things that we don't like. Those are also attachments. You can say or negative attachments. But these things, through these practices of the paramitas or the Eightfold Noble Path, is to try to get rid of those attachments. But ultimately, the greatest attachment is what? It's the attachment to our own self, our own body, for one. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to leave their body, right, and die, right? Everyone is afraid to die. And that's the strongest attachment to this body, to this life, okay? So, but ultimately, that's to transcend, that's what we need to do. And so most cultivators, when they die, so that's why, well, when an ordinary person passes away, usually, okay, I'm not saying always, but usually they're very afraid and they're reluctant to go. And when they die, right, they're stiff, okay. Whereas a cultivator, most cultivators, when they pass away, you can say that they know where they're going. I mean, there's no fear of the unknown, okay, that's beyond this life. And so when they leave, you can say they're more relaxed, and actually their bodies are supple. Okay, so that's one of the indications of a cultivator, that their bodies will be supple after they leave, so they don't suffer from that rigor mortis. But anyways, so we have to get rid of the attachment to our physical body and to anything that's you can say related to that too. From our physical body, we have 5 physical senses. So whatever attachments developed as a result of our senses, through our senses as well, get rid of those. And then the suffering, we view, obviously, we kind of seek pleasure rather than pain. So there's an aversion to the pain and suffering. But from a bodhisattva's point of view, there is really, they don't see it that way. They don't see it as suffering. So they will go to, lengths to even suffer for the benefit of others. Okay, so basically, from their point of view, it's not suffering. All right, so that's something that we, try to see it from that point of view. And then there's the physical death, the transformational death. Obviously, the physical death, of course, we're not afraid to die. Because we know that, obviously our true nature, our true self, our Buddha nature always exists. It's just a question of where it's going to go next. And then the transformational death refers to, a bodhisattva. If we get onto this bodhisattva path of cultivation, there are many levels or different stages that they go through to become a Buddha. And they said there's like 10 bhumis, which are 10 stages to get to become a Buddha. So each of these is a transformation. Okay, so each stage, there's a transformation to the next stage, and each level, each stage is where the bodhisattva lets go of certain attachments. Ultimately, getting to the highest level, all attachments are gone. Okay, there are no attachments at all. So that's the ultimate goal. Because as soon as, anytime we have any kind of attachments, that can lead us back to this, creating karma, cycle of reincarnation. All right. All right. The bodhisattva is also dedicated to the awakening of sentient beings and sacrifice or giving up of selfish desires, right? So obviously, that's why we're, in the beginning, maybe we start off, trying to learn ourselves and practice ourselves. Maybe we don't have that mind or heart to try to save, guide others, because maybe we just don't understand it very well as in the beginning. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as we don't necessarily have to have a deep understanding of all the principles, because as long as we have that heart, right, that we say, oh, this is something very good that we want to spread to other people, then we can do that. It's very simple, right? This Tao cultivator in Japan, I think it was, old lady, right? She doesn't know. I mean, she really doesn't know the principles. I mean, she's not very well educated, but yet she would go knocking on doors, and to say, "Wow, this Tao is great. Why don't you come to the temple?" That's all she would say, and she spread the Tao to thousands of people.
How many doors did he lock?
How many doors? I don't know.
200,000 people's door.
Knocked on.
He locked the door of the 200,000 plus people.
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, I don't think any of us would be able to do that. Well, here it's kind of tough.
They slammed the door in
Yeah,
our
yeah.
face.
Yeah.
No solicitation.
No, but it happened to her because when she moved from one family, because people say, "Are you crazy? Are you nuts?" Then she already heard a complaint from the backside. She continued to the next door. So she
You have
keep doing
to
that.
avoid all the negative.
But in the meantime, she
Reaction.
pushed herself to become Buddha, right? Then her and sister also become a saint Buddha too, because her merits.
Did she
Yeah,
help
he-
to set up a lot of temples?
Yeah. But he almost knocked every door, 200,000 plus doors of families. Now
Yeah.
each one to ask them to receive that, 200,000 or 230,000 people. Then, can you imagine that we do it? Yeah. But he became a Buddha.
Yeah, so that shows, well, courage and dedication. And
And bravery.
that's actually is part of the Six Paramitas that she's practicing. Okay, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, so, helping to awaken others and then sacrifice our own selfish, desires, things like that. Okay, so that's part of the, giving up that self, or getting rid of the
It's a
attachment.
he.
Sorry, was it he?
Yeah, more for men.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was. Sorry. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When a transmitter, when it leaves the body, do they have the choice? Because I read in the Vedic literature that the advanced yogis, they can choose the most auspicious time to leave the body, like better in the day than at night, and maybe certain times of the year than other times. Do they have that choice, the transmitters? They drop the body?
No, actually, it's very rare. I mean, but there are some people who I think there was a transmitter in Taiwan at the time that because he heard. I don't know.
It's a
Is
she.
it she?
It's a she.
Well, it's depends on the level of our cultivation.
Cultivation, yeah.
Once we cultivate to a certain level, even they knew, okay, tomorrow what time they are leaving. So they knew the time is coming up. So even they gather all their family members, explain to them, so tomorrow what time he's leaving or she's leaving. So depend on our cultivation.
And they get to wear whatever they want in their
Yeah.
coffin.
They do that.
They already
Yeah.
there.
Human being, normal human being will not get to that level. So we still have to go through all the gate. When we left this world, we still have to go through the gate to do the testing. Make sure we receive the three treasury. Make sure we know the introducer and sponsor, and we make sure we know who's the transmitter for when we receive that. So all those, they have to make sure we remember that those guys. If we don't remember, we cannot get into the southern mountain. Yeah, the gate of southern mountain. So we make sure everybody remember that. Because
Unless you have descendants that are cultivating well in the temple, and the parent will benefit from their cultivation, and then the holy teacher will take them out.
yeah, once we cultivate to a certain level, like the Jin's mother, she's a Jinhua saint. Then our holy Qigong teachers come to take her back.
Purification.
Yeah. So once we
She was
cultivate.
once transmitted.
We want to get to the level, we don't have to go through those gates, all the tests in the front. So once we go to a certain level, the same Buddha will come to bring us.
Is there any special rights that when let's say you have a parent or a relative that you care about and the family members are in the town, is there any special rights that they do when the person is about to leave this planet?
I don't think there's any special thing that we do before. I mean, I mean, during, at the funeral service, then there's a,
Right,
you know,
that's after.
that's after. Before, I mean, there are things that you can do to help them, like merits, right? You can dedicate merits to them, perform, So a lot of times when someone's in a bad situation, their health is really, gone bad, and they ask their descendants, family members to try to bring people to receive the Tao, and then dedicate those merits to the parent, and that can help a lot.
In the Catholic faith, there is something called the last rites, and usually the priests come and say some prayers when they know that the person is about to depart.
Right. Yeah, we don't do that. I think maybe, right, in the various religious practices, they'll do that to kind of like send them off. Yeah. But
Farewell.
yeah, kind of, try to maybe go in peace, right? But we don't do that.
Usually family member are around. Last week I was in Taiwan and we had one family member, temple masters, temple host, the mother passed away. Then I think called you just the mother-in-law. Then you know what happened? So her daughter dedicated from that moment because they had a public temple. So she dedicated from now on. Every night she's gonna come to the temple to help. Then all those married gonna transfer to her mother. So she made that vow before she died. Before her mother died, she said from now on she's gonna be in temple every night to help. So she waiting to transfer all the marriage to her mother. She make the vow. So from now on she's there almost every night to dedicate. So some people make the vow. I think the vow is more powerful than any other things. Because of merits. Yeah.
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 There are also transmitters who have some kind of experience. They have some illnesses, and they were not really propagating the Tao. Like the transmitters' main responsibility is bring the people to receive the blessing. So he was caught. He had fallen ill, and in his dream, holy teacher came to ask him if he's ready to leave. But then he said, no, I'm not ready to leave yet. That holy teacher asked him that you have to perform more merits, bring more people to the Tao, because if you have no use in this, physical world to help all the sentient beings, then why don't I leave you here? So he promised that he would be doing more in adult propagation, and holy teacher actually extended his life.
Usually, it happens a lot of times when the parents are leaving this world. Usually, we can convince their relative, even their children, to receive Tao. So we can give those merits, transfer those merits to the person who is living, who is dying. So sometimes we do a lot of times like this. Give him more merits at the moment. Even after they die, we still do that too. We can transfer more merit to them. Especially the children, their children are probably the most important, because when children receive the Tao, the parents benefit the most. So it's direct relationship, even grandchildren. But the others, you can receive some merit, but not as much as the children.
So what can the marriage do?
Merit will help them offset a lot of karmas, the big karma they might have. But usually, sometimes happen to some temple members. It just happened, I think, not too long ago. Because some people passed away. We said when people receive the Tao, when we leave this world, the body is supposed to be flexible, right? It's supposed to be, lifelike. It's even more beautiful. But sometimes the person is so not willing to go, so the body becomes stiff. Now what happened? The transmitter will prepare all the incense, right?
A big bundle of
Yeah,
incense.
and try to ask teacher or Buddha to help bring the person back. So we do that once in a while. If we find out the body is very stiff, because sometimes they won't let go because they might have something they didn't finish, they didn't want to go. So the body becomes very stiff. I think this happened probably a couple of months ago.
This is after they died?
After they die. Usually the body should be flexible, right? But sometimes the person who wants to leave this world not willing to go yet. he feels something is accomplished, his
think so.
or her mission. So she's not ready to go, so body becomes stiff. So usually we have the transmitter to let immediate to help the person to let him go, without the help. Yeah, so we do it in the temples, yeah, help the person.
Yeah, actually, there was this Tao member, it's in a different temple, I think, I don't know if it's, I don't remember where exactly, maybe North Carolina somewhere. It was actually an American family. The mother had gotten, I think, cancer or something. And, you know, this family, they're all Tao members, and they may even have had a, you know, family temple. So I think she was about to go. I mean, or you know, it was pretty bad, late stage, and the doctor said, "Well, there's not much time," and then she couldn't talk, and so the transmitter and some lectures they visited her in the hospital and asked her, you know, you need to make a great vow, big vow, okay, to you know, try to help spread the Tao, and so. So even though she couldn't speak, but you know she could, you know, squeeze the hand person, so kind of acknowledge that. So she did that, and so she got better actually. So she did get better, and eventually, you know, she left the hospital. You know, they checked her again, and she had seemed like no trace of cancer. Okay, so it's like a miracle. But then after a while, you can say that she forgot her vow. Okay, okay, so she didn't follow up on the vow. And so she got sick again. And this time, unfortunately, there was no saving her. Okay, so now so when she passed away, then I think she was kind of stiff, or one side was stiff. Okay, and so the transmitter, you know, at the temple, they burned big incense, everyone bowing, prayed to help her. So eventually, what happened? I guess through, well, I don't know if there was a kind of a channeling either, but she had come back in some people's dreams, okay, to kind of let them know that they should go and receive the Tao, okay. So, so basically, yeah, eventually, you know, she didn't fulfill the vow in this life, but you know, now in spirit form now, she's now trying to, you know, fulfill her vow. Okay, and so you can say that there's some miracles or whatever, you know, where she come into people's dreams and you know, I guess with those that she had affinity with, to let them know that, you know, they should receive the Tao, things like that. So that she's still trying to fulfill her vow, you know, in the afterlife. Okay, so yeah, the vow, you know, vows are very very important. So in the practice of Buddhism, or you know, a lot of religious practices, vows are important, and so same here, that the vow can change your fate as well. Yeah.
So, I thought that's more powerful than just going through doors, knocking. If you appear on people's dreams, people receive that.
Well,
but that's, he made a vow. The person made a vow to do that.
Right.
So he's going to propagate the Tao to all the living beings. But you know, you only know so many people.
Yeah.
You know, we all only know so many people, right? Now
still limited. Yeah.
But yeah. Then he decided, say, he's going to knock everybody's door. So that's what he did. It's about 230,000 people's door in Japan. He did that. And then that his vow. That's a spiritual vow. Not everybody can do that. Okay? Then you can walk house by house, and some people can kick you out. You know, but and people even screaming. And he heard the big noise, but he continued. They covered higher leg, keep walking to the next door. He does that, but he can become a Buddha. And he pushed his parents, his ancestors become Buddhas too, become saints. So that's because big wow in what he did. But come back to the last week, because one thing very important, last week I was in a funeral service, and I can see transmitter trying to make sure the person who died still remember the three treasuries. So that's very, very important. I think before our family member, anybody, we're going to have to leave this world one day, right? We have to go. So we want to make sure they remember three treasuries before then we leave this world. Anyone we knew. So we want to make sure they remember the three treasuries. Because a lot of people, the spirit went up to ready to go. They don't know the three treasuries. They got stuck before the southern mountain gate. Then they couldn't get in. So they don't know the three treasuries. We want to bring people, whoever receive a down, don't remember three treasuries, come back to review that all the time. Make sure we do that. Yeah.
Also on Sunday, if you feel you need the review of the three treasure, you can always ask for
Ask
it.
for. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, trying to go into the bar and there's a bouncer there. So you have to know the password to get in, right? Otherwise, yeah. But, if you cultivate very well, of course, then
Unless we get cultivated certain level.
the Buddhas will
Buddha
just
will
bring
come
you
take
in.
us back,
It's like
okay?
a VIP, you can get in.
Make sure, yeah.
So,
Otherwise, we gotta use our three treasury, our merit to pass through each gate. There's a three big gate, and 9 opening. So those we have to go one by one, test each one of them, pass through one by one. Yeah. So,
Karen has a question.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's more of a comment, but
Yeah.
if you cultivate to a certain level that you don't need to pass through those gates, doesn't it not matter? Because the point of you skipping those gates is because you would pass them anyway.
right.
Right? So it's not like you could wish or hope for to not go through those tests because you're afraid of failing.
Right.
And then, right? It's more
It's
like.
not that fast. The Buddha take them through like
Through
those
it.
gates. Not
Yeah.
very
Right.
fast.
Yeah, I mean,
So you
but,
don't need to be tested because
right,
you
you
passed it
already,
anyway.
you wouldn't,
Right?
you
Because
wouldn't
they
have any
dedicate so
problem.
much, they
Right.
they have
Yeah.
so much merit.
Right.
But we normal people will not go through that.
Right.
Right.
A lot of people, if we look to read what happened, a lot of spirits came down to tell us. A lot of people stuck there, especially men stuck with one.
They failed the test.
They failed the
of
test.
lust.
Especially the men, we stuck there. A lot of men stuck there. The gay, men couldn't pass the stage.
Shame on you.
Women can fail that too.
Hey,
Yeah, but not in that.
No, they
more
failed the one, the
fashion
shopping.
or shopping,
so those kind of gay, you got to pass one by one to get there. Yeah,
So if you don't pass, it won't happen.
And you stuck there until you pass. Then go to the next one. So that's why we have to get rid of those attachments before we really go. Otherwise, we're going to stuck in one of the gates. Yeah. Unless we go to a certain degree, have certain merits, Buddha sense, come to help me, That, so.
Like my dad,
Yeah.
who only came to the temple when he received the Tao. He never came back. He doesn't remember the three
Yeah.
treasure. So he's up there because whatever I'm doing, he's
Yeah, it's helping,
benefiting.
yeah.
All right. So my mom, who is also at a deathbed now, is also going to do the same thing.
Yeah. But one thing very important, lecture Jean has a family temple at home. Family
Yeah,
temple
that
at
helps a
home.
lot.
So usually, before we become a Buddha, we need 3,000 big merits and 9 big constraints. The result. When we have a family temple at home, it got 1,300 merits, big merits already. 1,300. So family temple is very big stage when we have a family temple at home.
And also church, Jean,
Yeah.
she has been so dedicated to the temple. She's always here, on weekdays walking around to help cleaning and put things away, making sure everything's neat and tidy. So she's the unsung hero.
I remember one time Holy Qigong teacher taught her, because she usually here Sunday, right? Weekday she doing accounting books for the temple, right? Teacher taught her, what did teacher tell her? I remember that, because she keep doing all the stuff all the time. Teacher told her, you gotta do more, you gotta do more. Because, why? We want to offset all the other karma out before we go. Or do more, because look at her.
Because I'm sick, that's why I have to do more.
She's
So
leukemia, but
yeah.
she's still fine. How many years already?
15.
15 years. Right? When you get cancer, you can survive for
I'm a
15 years.
living miracle.
Yeah, 15 years.
Even my mom is a living mirror.
15 years you're in cancer, you don't have, you still survive.
Yeah, my
Right.
mom was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver, and when she was diagnosed, the doctor gave her 3 to 5 year maximum. Now it's over 10 years.
Yeah. So once we do more, the Buddha, the Zen's teacher, he used our merit, offset a little bit, so we can extend it. They can extend our life if they want to, depending on what we have, what we did, what we have done. Okay. So last week I was in Taiwan. I remember there's a transmitter tonight. Yeah. She had so many problems. She had a cancer. She survived. She had auto accident. She died. When people die, you put a white clothes on top of it. She was dying for 6 hours after people covered with a white clothes. Okay, pronounced dead. She came back. Okay, she came back. Last week, a couple months ago, she had stroke. Okay, then I saw her last week. She's fine. Okay, so all kind of stuff. We overcome a lot of stuff. It's just
Everything depends on the sincerity of our
what
heart
we really
and
want
mind.
to do. He said, I saw her last week. I said, wow, he had stroke a couple months ago, right? If people have stroke, they have problem on hand, leg, right? I look at her, just I don't see the difference. So it's kind of what we want to do. Buddha can help us. But we don't do nothing, they really cannot help us. That's the key. Because I saw her last week, I said, wow, people told me you have stroke, but I don't see it. You know?
Okay.
She had stroke too.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So up here we see the 6 paramitas listed here. Yeah. The first word, dana or dana is these are Sanskrit terms. It means giving, generosity, or charity. Sila, I guess, is discipline, morality, or taking the precepts. Right. Talk about those precepts. Kasanti, which is forbearance, tolerance, patience. Right. Virya is diligence or vigorous effort. Right. Dhyana is concentration or meditation, samadhi, and prajna is wisdom. So these are 6. You can say they're kind of like 6 levels, maybe. You can view them as different levels, stages. Obviously the highest is wisdom, that prajna. But in practice, I mean, we do all of these, together. And now, the 6 paramitas, for an ordinary person, actually they practice, a few of these already. Maybe there's giving or generosity, right? We do normal people do that kind of stuff. There's discipline as well, or this discipline is really, you can say it's moral discipline. And the forbearance or, tolerance, patience. Okay, so people do that too. Diligence, diligence of effort. Now, what they may be lacking, and then they might even have that concentration, okay, a focus. But what may be lacking is the wisdom. So for example, if we take like a person who likes to gamble, okay, so he's actually practicing all of these except for the wisdom. All right, gambler, he's giving his money away to the casino. Okay, so that's so. And then he certainly has a certain discipline in doing it. He has certainly a lot of patience. He's waiting to hit the jackpot, right? And you see actually in here, Flushing, you see those buses, right? Those buses every week. I don't know, it's every day or every week. I don't know. Every day they have them.
Many times a day.
Yeah,
people going to the casinos.
over there where we park the car.
Over there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually you have to pay the tuition,
I used to think, these people are going on tour. I didn't know they were
Yeah,
going to
tour,
Atlantic
yeah.
City.
Tour
I
to
mean,
casino.
No, it meant they were going on
That's why the
vacation.
state tax is a little lower. You see some states.
So we gotta thank them.
Yeah, because look at New Jersey and New York. New Jersey state tax is lower than New York state tax
Yeah.
because of those income.
But, yeah, and then the diligence, concentration, but obviously they don't have the wisdom, and maybe they don't have that meditation, that concentration, and
Focus.
but they're very focused on
that.
that.
Here.
Yeah.
Those gates, remember when we did this world, there's one gate just for gambling. Okay?
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, people stuck there too.
Ah.
And people couldn't get out because certain people they couldn't get out there.
They all
Too
have
tempting.
Yeah, too tempting.
那个上面就好。
what other gates have?
色观
Yeah, there are
I
many.
guess it will be different tests for
Yeah.
Yeah.
different genders,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah,
Uh-huh.
different tests, but
Well-
For different people,
also
yes.
different.
What your attachments are, your attachments,
Different,
attachments,
different
vices.
attachments,
Yeah.
right? So one for gambling, one for
So
lust.
it's targeted
One
towards
for-
each
what's
individual
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
Well,
basically.
it depends on the individual's.
Motivation.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they're, yeah, you can say cultivation,
Sec-
but they're whatever residual
Oh, if I can-
emotions or
if I can have
whatever
this person
you can
touch
say
my
faults that we
significant
have
other?
will be
Yeah.
tested on those.
Like,
They can
we
be
love
different.
them so
Yeah,
much.
also
Yeah.
it varies from
Yeah, if
individual
they
to
don't,
individual. So some people,
you
you know,
be
enjoy
attached to the
drinking.
water.
So you know, so you know, there's something there. Some people are, you know, gluttonous. I don't know, whatever. You know, it's kind of scary.
Yeah. So, okay. So yeah. So these are okay. So these are the basic, you know, the what they call 6 paramitas. They also have like different, you know, 10 paramitas, things like that. But they're all, you know, this is kind of the basic, the you know, practices that we would do. So okay. So let's talk about first one. Okay, giving or charity. Yeah, I don't like to say charity. Giving is probably the most appropriate. Oh, okay, here we go. All right, so there the types of giving. Okay, so we talk about these in the temple, right? There's material giving, giving of the Dharma or the teachings of, you know, the Buddha, and giving of our time and effort. And then the Buddhists, the way they talk about it, they also talk about giving of courage. Okay, but giving of material is basically any material things, you know, like financial money or you know, other material things that we can give. Yeah, food, anything like that. Now, there also within this, the type of giving, there's also you can say different ways, different mindsets, if you will, of giving. Obviously, there's the giving where you what they call giving with characteristics. So there's a reason why you're giving. Okay, and what they say is like, okay, so maybe you're giving because you want to repay something, repay a debt, some other kind of debt, okay, that you owe someone, or you want to do it for the benefit of someone else, okay, so there's a reason behind it. Okay, that's one form. Another one is where you have some other intention in giving, and that giving is so you want to seek something in return. Okay, so that's now obviously that type of giving where you're giving and expecting something in return is, I mean, you're still giving, which is good. Okay, it's you're benefiting someone, but it's limited. Okay, so that's limited. You know, in the Taoist philosophy, where we talk about Yo Wei, okay, where there's intentional, there's some motivation, that kind of you can say there's a selfish motivation behind it. Okay, so, but ultimately the highest giving, which is, you can say it's altruistic giving, is just giving for the benefit of others without seeking anything, okay, without any real motivation, selfish motivation at all. So that's the highest level of giving. And that's really the true practice of giving, okay, a true practice of charity, right? So that's what we strive to achieve, that level. And so it applies to all of these, whether it's material or the Dharma, you know, teaching, to guiding others towards enlightenment, and then obviously time and effort. You know, we can help out. You know, maybe we don't, just like that person in Japan. You know, he doesn't know the Dharma, but he can just go out and spend time and effort to knock on doors, to spread the Tao. And then they talk about the giving of courage. You can say that may be a subset of, subset of some of these. That you know, people when they are in need of maybe encouraging words, things like that. So we can give that. someone get out of their kind of predicament, if you will, right? Okay, so that's one form of giving. This is what we call external giving. Okay, we're giving things externally, but there's another type of giving. Does anyone know besides these?
Emotional, spiritual, mental.
Influence of people by setting a role model.
Well, I mean, that's part of the practice, but the other giving is internal giving, which is giving up of certain things. Giving up, okay? So, letting go, yes. So that's something that we have to do. So giving of ourselves and cutting off our desires. Okay, so that's a key part of this. Okay, so
internal, external.
yeah, so the external part, yeah, that's the external giving is pretty easy actually.
Well, you can see that. You can see
it.
Yeah.
But actually, it's also okay. That kind of giving, it's not like, oh, I have something that I don't want, so I'm giving. It's not really it's not like that. It's actually true giving is giving up something that you really want, really like. If you can give that up, then that's true giving.
Your most treasured item.
Yes.
Okay, if you have this T-shirt that you love dearly, if you can let it go and give it to somebody, that's the best detachment.
That's right. Shows that you can, sever that attachment to that thing that you like most. Right. So.
Our part is our temper, bad habits. Sometimes we have attachment. People might tell us, but you know what? We don't want to admit that. You know what I mean? We're going to, we don't see. I don't see the problem. You know what I mean? But the other people can feel that. You know what I mean? So that's the hard part. It's not what we feel. It's how Buddha and God, heaven and God see that. Human being, we do not see we have a problem.
Yeah. So this cultivation is really it's not just one aspect. We have to look at incorporate many different practices, if you will, to self-reflection is to recognize our own faults and temper that we need to correct. Okay, so rather than depending on other people pointing it out to us, and then we don't like that, and so we ignore it, realizing it, seeing it in ourselves that we can self-correct. Okay, that's the ultimate. All right, so things that we need to be able to give up. Let's see. Here, consumption of alcohol and fancy food and drink. Okay, so extravagant.
Oh yeah.
When it's too extravagant, it's like
Too much.
it's like over the top. I mean, so if you look at the
People stuff themselves in the
well,
diet.
that too, that's excessive, but when the food is just too good, that's
Because you can't eat it at home, only in the Dharma class, everybody's stuffing it.
right.
Like chocolate, what would you have?
Chocolate? What's wrong with chocolate?
Well, anything really.
A little bit of everything, it doesn't mean you can't eat it.
Okay.
Yeah, but just don't overdo it, in moderation.
Yeah, it's not.
Teacher said, our Holy Qigong teacher make one example. For them in a Dharma class, anybody had Dharma class food before? Right?
Yeah.
The food is so good. Pretty much I'm full already. I gotta have one more time, one more bite, right? I gotta take one more time for day one. I like it. So that teacher said that's greedy. Our Holy Qigong teacher said, at that moment, that's greedy. Okay, so yeah, it's a test. It's how to control our self-control.
Yeah. But actually, when I say alcohol, it's actually any intoxicants. Okay, so alcohol is obviously the most common, but drugs, things like that can cause us to lose ourselves, our mind. Those are all.
I have a question regarding alcohol.
Yeah.
Is it that we give it up completely, or is it also like a moderation type of thing?
As long as you don't get drunk.
So it's as long as you don't get
No,
drunk.
but the problem
You
is.
control yourself.
Well, the problem is, okay, maybe you can control yourself, but the problem is, then it's an attachment, right? Because you feel like you want to drink it. That's an attachment already. So,
I think it should be that you don't drink at all because, let's say, as,
It's
if you
like,
take a
yeah.
vegetarian vow, also
Right.
that alcohol is one of the things, right? Just like
So you just
say
don't touch it.
no garlic, onion, and so then I think that we should not.
Not only that, once you touch it,
Yeah,
you cannot
Yeah,
get
yeah.
rid of it.
yeah,
And the more you touch, the more you drink.
Yeah.
And then
Because some people only drink during social events,
Right, like the
weddings
dinner,
Right.
or
wine,
something.
yeah, you know.
So then in that case, I mean, if you have, well, like I took the vegetarian route, so then that I just can never
It
touch
just-
No,
it,
you should not.
right?
Yeah, you should not.
Should
Sure.
not. Once we make the vow,
yeah.
we should not,
We should not.
okay? So we have to be careful of that. But a lot of people get excuse, I gotta cook, right? So the wine there, right? Yeah, people do that, right?
Yeah, but it burns
So you gotta
it.
control,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
manage.
don't know.
Yeah,
Because,
people
but,
make some wine, yeah.
but, they sometimes put the cooking wine in the food over here.
Yeah, I know, but
Because
that's
it
why,
evaporates out or something.
yeah, but
Yeah,
a lot
Yeah, most
times
of it
Not
evaporates.
some of it,
It's
but
different level of vegetarian
Yeah.
wow. If you remember all day, when we make a vegetarian wow, we can have an egg, we can have milk, we can have a honey, right?
Different level.
All day, right? Remember all day, people make a vegetarian wow, they allow to have an egg,
Yeah.
honey, milk. Today,
Yeah, it's
our
bad.
political teacher said, when you are the lecturers, temple masters, temple hosts, you should not have egg. If you can avoid it, you should not have honey. Right?
Vegan, you have to be
Right?
vegan.
Remember
And
that?
the reason with the honey is when they take the honey out of the hive, little baby bees are caught in there, and we don't see it, but the Buddha see it. So that's why we don't eat honey.
The idea is that, yeah, yeah. I mean, if we took back-
Comes from
if we took
animals,
those
yeah.
vows- Yeah, anything, yeah, we have to be vegan, you know, which is pretty strict, but, as opposed to, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's new for young people.
Okay, there's a range, okay? We can be extremely strict, which is basically you're teetotal. You're vegan, no alcohol, no drugs, I mean, no tobacco, you know, no honey, that type of stuff. So that's the you can say the highest standard. Okay, I mean that's the highest standard. And so, you know, depending on our path of cultivation, if you are a transmitter, temple host, even lecturers, you should be following that standard. I mean, you should. I said you should. Now, those people, there are some people who are vegetarian who haven't taken the vow. Maybe, yeah, I mean, you know, you may get away with eating some eggs, some honey, you know, milk, dairy. So I think there's a range, okay, and then it's up to you. Nobody's forcing to choose, and to understand what is, you know, where in the range do you want to follow and pursue. But ultimately, it's this: is that, you know, we have to be willing to. I don't want to say strict. It's like training. It's like maybe a good analogy is like this. If you're training kung fu, I'm just an example. You know, and it's not detached from reality. You know, in ancient days, ancient. I'm talking about ancient. Okay, at least couple thousand years. Those people who are training kung fu, they tend to be vegan. And there's a reason. I mean, there is a reason because the idea is that the higher level of kung fu, of martial arts, whatever, you want the pure your life force has to be. The purer, or the purest it has to be. And by not eating things from animals, eggs, or alcohol, or tobacco, it will help your life force to become purer. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. So it's up to you. So it's up to you. Now I'm saying that, yeah, there are some leeway. Okay, yeah. So that's what. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.